Hey everyone. So, in this episode, I've got a lot to say. CRT, if you guys know what that means. I don't even want to give that credit by even uttering it entirely. So, I'm sure you can figure it out. You get me? I don't want to get flagged. No, here's a story. Here's how I really feel about just theories in general. And for systems like the school system here in America is, implementing it or squeezing it, sliding it in. It just smells dirty, sounds dirty. Like everything about it is not positive. So hands down, if it's not positive, I'm already going to be against it. I'm already going to recommend that people don't jump on the bandwagon. Like, let's take a step back here and let's find out for sure. A theory is a theory. It's not a fact. That's the number one thing we got to talk about. It's a fact that the theory is not a fact. Okay, let's make that very clear. So now, with that being said, I remember when I was in college, I passed this exam because I argued that I shouldn't be tested on the Big Bang Theory. This is a very important story, guys, and I was very young. But I've always had this attitude, like you cannot, a fact, fine. One of the questions was, A, B, C, or D, multiple choice questions of, where did the earth come from, and one of the answers was the Big Bang Theory. I'm like, this is not a question. It's not a question. And I debated it. I sat down with the professor and I'm like, give me any other question. This is a theory. I should not be losing points over this question. Long story short, let's just say it went to my favor. And we don't have to get mad about it, but prove it to me. Explain it to me. Convince me. Maybe I'll go along with your theory, but not just point blank, not just because you said it to me. And as a life strategist, I question everything. You're supposed to question everything. I love how these YouTubers I see out there and a lot of commentators just in MSM in general, right? Mainstream media is like, don't question anything. And oh my God, what's that guy's name? I'll post it somewhere in here. So here's what he said. We don't need to hear both sides to define the truth. Let me tell you something. As a life strategist, one of the most important things in the 30 years I've been doing this is communications. Okay? I majored in communications. Doesn't make me the expert of communication, but I'm really extremely passionate about it. And I also study journalism. And you have to tell both sides of the story. You have to say both perspectives. You have to get all the information. That's journalism. And then you decide, you, the audience, you decide what's the truth. I trust you. I think you can make your own mind. And if you don't, or if you have questions, that's what I'm going to be here for. And there's many other speakers out there. But like I said, like it's written in my description, I'm not your typical commentator. This is commentator with a twist of a life strategist, aka life coach. Specifically when it comes to relationships, any type of relationships, and communication. Without communication, there is no relationship that's going to function. That's it. I'm here to simplify things. I'm just going to cut the middle guy out constantly. I'm going to totally make it in terms where everyone can understand it. I'm not going to get fancy. You get me? And I want us to have fun together while we're, bringing the light, and spilling some truth, right? Or even debating on what's your truth if it is so objective. The other thing that's been going around, right? The whole 2 and 2 is 4. No. The new thing where it's 2 and 2 is 5. Okay. I digress. Give me a second. Let me go back. Let me just finish the fact that it was Lester. Let me say. Yeah. Lester Holt. Okay. I personally don't respect him. He works for MSM. I've been there, done that. We'll talk about all that. One of my stories in the future. on another episode. But for right now, let's just say, for him to say that we don't need to hear both sides of the story to define truth. It's appalling. It's an insult to my intelligence personally. I don't know how you feel about this, but I definitely, guys, leave me a comment below. I'm going to read it. I'm going to answer you guys. We need to lighten things up, but we need to have real discussions if we're going to get serious. This is why there's all this censorship going around, because it's powerful. The exchange of information can make or break any outcome, anybody's agenda. I've been saying it for years. Knowledge is power. I'm sure you've already heard that before, but seriously, knowledge is power. Now, going back to if 2 and 2 is 5, because we know it's 2 and 2 is 4, because I'm going to just go ahead and nip this in the bud, and I don't want to ever hear about it again. Because you ask somebody like Elon Musk if he can fly to Mars, if they say 2 and 2 is 5. Just that, guys. Just that. That's it. End of discussion. And we should really be focusing on fixing the damage that the government's done. We need to be involved with our government. In my opinion, we should fire everyone. What's going on? I don't understand what's so difficult about that. Why can't we just fire everyone and replace them? As a life strategist, if the government hired me to structure their system, the first thing I would do is fire a lot of people. I mean, at least half, 100%. Then I would try to replace the other half and eventually weed them all out. Just that. Nothing personal. I'm not agreeing with you or disagreeing with you. Just I'm going to clean house, because honestly, that's how you do it. After World War II, Germany, how do you think they got back up, guys? Did you read about it? Did you study it? Did you see some videos? They're all out there. If you want to know, you can find it. And I used to always say, Google it. When people would ask me a question, I was tired of answering the same stuff, over and over again. I'm like, Google it. Guess what? You can't do that nowadays. You guys are going to have to go deeper, because Google is censoring everything. And they're literally making sure you can't find something. I'll tell you my own personal experience. So basically it had to do with mothers speaking out, mothers and even teachers speaking out about like anti-racism or having to identify as a certain race. Teachers having to teach that kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about CRT specifically, just the whole overall umbrella. There's no room to teach that kind of mentality, because it's really a mentality. It's an ideology. With that being said, there's nothing positive that comes from it. But what you can do is just teach them about examples of racism and how it's existed since the beginning of time, and how a lot of animals, even insects, don't like people from, ants don't like certain ants from a different antville, if you want to call it that way, okay? So, again, I'm always going to make things lighthearted to keep things light. Why? Because I come from a place of love. So everything that comes out of my mouth, guys, get used to it. It's all about love. Love is the cure. Love is the key. Love is everything. And it's unfortunate that it sounds, and it's been sounding like it's corny. Like it's so underrated, guys. Because without love, there's nothing. I'm serious. Love is energy. Everything. I mean, even a physician can tell you, even a doctor can, scientists can tell you that when a baby is conceived, there's a spark of energy, guys. I would call it love, call it energy, either way. It's miraculous. It's amazing. We don't know how to create that kind of energy. We can emulate it. We can we conduct it. We can harness it, right? And even if we do generate it through batteries, et cetera, I get that argument. Again, leave me a comment. Give me your pushback. I'm loving it. But also tell me what you think. If you agree with me, if you get me, I'd love to hear that too. Let's keep this going. I want comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, share this with your friends, your family. Everyone needs to hear this. There's way too much negativity out there, and I'm not going to be, like I said, I'm not going to be your typical commentator where I'm going to continue to talk about everything else that's been talked about through politics and hashing out on the left and the right and all this. Guys, There is no such thing as left and right. It's all made up. Don't buy in to the BS. Seriously, don't buy it. And we should be, like I was saying about World War II and bringing the country back and rebuilding it. We're in that position right now to rebuild it. Every single one of us. What are you doing today to make your environment better, your community better, your family, your house, anything? You shouldn't be on the internet. We shouldn't be on the internet all day long, addicted to our phones, arguing back and forth. Twitter, guys, don't even get me started with Twitter. I know it's not a positive environment, so why would I participate? I'm not a masochist, so then maybe you need to ask yourself that question, because if you like that shit, and I'm not labeling you, I'm just trying to, give it to you in a nutshell. I want you to think about that, because you can't say you don't like negativity, you don't love drama, and kind of participate in those type of platforms. Or even say Instagram as a platform and always posing pictures of yourself. I get it. It's dopamine shots. One is drama, which is also addicting. Dopamine shots, likes, that kind of thing. Addicting. I get it. But when I have clients come to me, anybody who wants to improve in their life, feel better in any shape or form, the first thing I say is cut off social media. And the only reason I use social media is so you guys can find me. That's it. Just to say, hey, I'm here. If you're tired of the, same old conversations, the left and right, and you want to have real conversations, things that actually make a difference and that will make you feel better without having to take a pill. How's that for a concept? Nobody intentionally wants to do things that doesn't make them feel good, right? Right? Okay, yeah, that's for another discussion, right? With that being said, yeah, life isn't easy, but that's life. We can't appreciate the good without the bad. You've heard that. And a lot of things that I say is things that I know I'm sure you've heard of. But I'm here to give you the inspiration, the guidance, to be the captain of your own ship, your mind, your body, your soul. Question everything. They're all lying. Everybody has an agenda. That's human nature as well. Ego, selfish, And how can you be kind? That's the cure to everything. Can you imagine if everyone in government, politics, the school system, all the issues that we're having on a global scale, the imbalance of capitalism, not free market, not the fact that you should be able to do what you want to do. If somebody disagrees with you and they don't like it and they think the system should be different, like say a socialist system or a communistic system, they can create a little community. They can get together. We can all coexist, honestly. And I just love it when you hear it on television, all these shows, even articles, and you hear like, well, what are you willing to compromise? The left, the left, the right. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to really compromise. And it just seems more like the left, kind of. They seem the least willing to compromise. Meet in the middle. Because they're so focused on who's right. And mind you, just because these people are in positions of power, that doesn't make them the smartest people on the earth. That doesn't make them the experts at all. In fact, they're mediocre at best of their level of intelligence. And even if they're super intelligent, how many times you hear, get two different opinions? Don't just go to one doctor, go to two or three, right? Even like if you need legal assistance and advice, go to a few of them. Why not? A mechanic. Ask a couple of them. Figure it out. Follow your instinct. See what you really feel that is best for you. Who do you trust more? Who deserves your service or attention? Make them work for it. Because you've done the work. Because you went out and you did your research. It's good to hear people's opinions and, advice, but dig deeper. Here's the other thing. McAfee. First thing that comes to my mind is he allegedly committed suicide. I've been looking all day all over the internet to find out, is there a picture of this? Because even with Epstein, we saw some picture, whether we know he was definitely dead while he's in the stretcher getting in the ambulance or not is another question. So it's for me, it's not even about, was it true? Was it real? Did it really happen? And if it did, who did it? There obviously has to be an investigation, but even the investigation never comes to a conclusion. We don't really know the true story with Epstein, right? So I'm sure we're not going to know the full story of McAfee because who is in charge of giving you this information? So why is there no pictures of this guy dead? So anybody can say anything, and it's the truth. Think about this, guys, right? And so now you're going, okay. And he clearly said through tweets and all types of him reaching out and saying, if I pass out, right? If I cross over, it won't be from suicide. I can tell you that, right? Even if it was an elaborate scheme, a hoax, a joke all on us, it doesn't matter. Where's the picture of this guy? Deceased. Where? Where is it? Who found him? They're giving you no information. They're just saying he's passed. And you see a picture of when he was alive. Guys, am I the only person thinking this? Because seriously? And these people want me to respect them and take them as authority? No way. And I've worked for the television networks. Yes. And I won't even mention what network because, again, I don't want to give them the credit. But guys, I'm not on anybody's side. I don't believe in politics because it's all corrupt. Like I said, these people, I don't even look up to them as the authority figures that they pretend to be. And honestly, I think that's the best word I could say for today. They pretend to be whatever their title, aka label is. They're pretending. Everybody's pretending. Talk about imposter syndrome. But the fact that we're all believing it or listening to it, no, man. We got to shut that stuff off. We got to let them know, without me, you don't have a job. And if you don't get it together, guess what? Right? If there's nobody watching, nobody listening, nobody interacting, they're out of business. Just by us not consuming their bullshit at all, canceling your cable network, shutting the TV off, choosing, listening to both sides, to different perspectives, and really coming down with a conclusion. That's just basic intelligence 101. So I don't understand why would anybody want to waste any time going back and forth of who's right or who said this and that. They all have been caught lying. They've all, and like I said, I'm not going to mention names of a president, the orange man. Like I said, I do not take sides. I don't get involved because I know I'm not playing these games. I'm beyond that, people. And I'm sure you are too. Or at least you're ready to. Right? Like, who doesn't want the truth? If you found out what was really happening behind the curtain, would you really support the same people that you think you're, diehard for or, complete fan or, have allegiance to? And I'm not saying we can't accept people and that we shouldn't accept them with all their flaws because everybody's flawed. That brings me to the next subject. That guy that was on CNN that was caught, right? Remember that? Okay. And again, another name I don't want to mention, but I'll put the link below in case you forgot or maybe you didn't know, right? Now, he's back on CNN. Oh, shoot, I said the word. Anyway, he's back. Like, if you're going to pardon him, then you should pardon everybody that made a mistake. What's good for one should be good for all. Period. End of story. No bias, no nothing. How are we not going to be happy? How are we going to expect to coexist if we don't have the same rules for everybody? I mean, everybody knows that if you have kids, if you're raising kids, or if you're a teacher, I used to be a teacher, and you have a classroom, you got to treat them all the same with the same standard. Or you have chaos, which obviously that's what we have right now. So that's why, once again, let me remind you why I'm here. I want to just blow the fog away. Really. Because I believe that every human being, no matter who they are, no matter what their background, their culture, their beliefs, we all have instinct. Every animal does. And we definitely have it. And just really ask yourself. And when you ask yourself, don't just because what if you don't know? Like, what is my gut feeling? I get confused sometimes. It's hard to tell because they don't raise us to do that. Now, don't you think that's a coincidence? I mean, do you think it's a coincidence that they don't teach us to use our instinct? Yet there's not a scientist or expert, whoever you believe is authority in the subject matter. Why don't they teach us that in school? Going back to knowing what your instinct is. Well, number one is defining your ego. Who's the ego? Who's really speaking for you? If you're someone that finds yourself as a reactive person and you have triggers, it's time to get a self-check. Because that's a telltale sign that you're probably not, reacting based on your instinct. And these are, things that have been taught to us, things that we've learned as children, things that our culture, society, continues to pile on, reiterate, shove it down your throat. So again, I'm always going to have an argument about anything that anyone says, this should be this way and we should think that way. Here's what I say. How about you just be a loving person and a kind person? Just imagine, guys, just for real, just sit there and visualize what it would be like if every day that all of us got up and just said, you know what, I'm going to be the nicest person I can be. And kindness is contagious. Positivity is contagious. Just like negativity is very contagious. Negativity is actually more contagious, I believe, than positivity. But positivity is stronger and it lasts longer. And once you get a taste of that, just like something that you ate that tastes like shit, right? When you taste something that's good, you want more of it. Do you see what I mean? Do you see how I'm breaking it down for you? So anybody in your life who complains a lot, who bitches a lot, I'm telling you, you got to call them out and say, hey, I heard you. I'm here for you. I care about you. But let's flip this now. You got it off your chest because you know what? We definitely need to get things off our chest. That is actually healthy. That's actually positive. But for how long? Do you need 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months in a row? Like, get over it, right? We got to get over it. You can have a tantrum, say your car breaks down in the middle of the road. And you could definitely have a tantrum. I mean, I'm one of those people. I've definitely, especially my past, as you get older, I think you get better. And again, you choose your battles better. That's all part of age. But it starts somewhere, and it starts when you start to make that decision that, okay, I got to get it together. I got to take accountability. I got to take ownership. I am the captain of my ship. Mind, body, and soul. If you're not good at something, get better at it. Practice more. Spend more time. Don't just give up. That is natural to be that way. But Rome wasn't created in one day. Michael Phelps didn't get a gold medal at his first try. You guys get me. We can go on and on with examples, but yeah. So here's my thing going back to the CNN dude about his self-assistance, to say it very nicely. He claims he didn't know the camera was on. Why would you even go there? Why would you even be there? Now, come on, dude. You know you got pleasure out of it. That's why you did it. And I get it. We all have fetishes. And again, you're not going to get judgment from me. I'm just going to call your bullshit. That's it. I'm just going to call everybody out as I keep coming on the podcast. And as these trending topics and current events, I'm just going to, like I said, give you my 2 cents, my perspective. How about that? Just a different perspective. Just let's change the subject because I'm tired of hearing everybody with the same old, same old. And this whole conspiracy theory, guys, have you even looked it up? Has anybody really looked it up and spent time on it? Because, by the way, they use a lot of this, again, to debunk it, to discredit it, to also make, to basically control your mind, right? To control our minds. Now, for most of the times they use the term conspiracy theory, guys, it's not a conspiracy theory when it's happening. You with me? I will continue to share my stories with you, true life experience, not just, what I've read, which I have read a lot, and I will be periodically giving you guys book recommendations. Matter of fact, for today's episode, if you haven't already read it, read Manufacturing Consent. I'll put the link in the description. You can find it. I'll also put it in my blog. Guys, make sure to sign up to my newsletter because I will be doing random events, some live, some online. And as things open up, I'll be doing more in person. So stay in touch. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Olga S. Pérez Show. If you like this video, hit the subscribe and make sure to hit the notification bell so we don't miss each other in future episodes.